Last time we looked at Prince of Persia for the Super Nintendo, and although it was a game that was really difficult and had horribly stiff controls, it was a game that left its mark in gaming history. Today I want to talk about the reboot to the Prince of Persia franchise, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. You know, as a kid, I remember liking it a lot, but let's see if my opinion has changed at all. I'll be looking at the remastered trilogy on PlayStation 3. The originals were on PlayStation 2, which moved the franchise from 2D to 3D. Let's get this review started, shall we? The game opens up with the unnamed prince and his father about to take on a Maharaja city. In the midst of all the battle, the prince comes across the Dagger of Time and wants to have it as a memento of their victory. At the same time, his father's army obtains an hourglass that holds the Sands of Time. Visiting the city of Azad, the king wants to present the hourglass to the city's ruler, but the vizier tricks the prince into inserting the Dagger of Time into the top of the hourglass, which releases the sands, transforming the city's population into savage monsters. Together with the leader of Maharaja's daughter, Farah, he wants to correct his mistakes and return the sands to the hourglass. What I find funny is that I did research on this story, and originally it was even more complex than it is now. The creator of the series, Jordan Mechner, was overseeing this project and told the scriptwriters to scrap it all and start with 4 guiding concepts: the ability to rewind time, the dagger, the sands, and the abilities revolved around them. Another thing I find interesting is that the development team used the Jade game engine, which was also used to create the game Beyond Good and Evil. Like the Super Nintendo game, the controls in this game are stiff. However, they are fair. They would need to be with the platforming you'll have to do. For example, you might have to wall run onto a switch that makes a platform show up and jump immediately off to land on said platform. And yes, it sounds complex, but the platforming is the best and most fun part of this game. The combat, on the other hand, it's bad. It's really bad. Every enemy has a specific way on how to kill them, and every combat scenario is mixing all of the different types of enemies together, which is fine. However, most of the enemies can be killed with jumping over them, while the others, you just have to wall jump over them or block and counterattack. There's a lot more problems as well. You see, the game has an issue where they want to make everything look as cinematic and impressive as possible, such as when you enter a new room, they have the camera pan around the entire section before swinging back to you, and also when you finish off a group of enemies, there is always, and I mean always, a cutscene of the prince sheathing his sword and dagger. I hate this cutscene so much. I mean, look at this. That should not count as combat. It took me like 2 seconds. That's not all. The camera is god-awful as well. It always gets stuck behind a wall or a pillar or something, and when that happens, you can't see what the enemies are doing and don't know when to counterattack. I'm fine. And you think this is it? I'm not done yet. Sound design is pretty crappy too. I have everything turned up to max, and you know what I hear the most? Not the voice acting, not the music, but the sound effects. Of all the things, it's the sound effects? Why would you do that? In what universe are the sounds of swords clanging more important than hearing the characters talk to each other? Or the sounds of these scarabs sounding like high heels walking around louder than the music? With all of my complaints, did this game actually receive any praise at all? Hang on, I have to check on this. Yeah, I guess it did. Why, though? The absolute worst thing about this game is the save points. And I don't mean having a checkpoint system is bad or anything, because they're nicely spread out and one appears at the end of every combat. No. What I mean is that when you enter the save point, the prince gets flashes of the future and it shows you how to solve the platforming puzzles. In a platformer. This takes away all of the fun of solving it for yourself. It's like that friend, who everybody has, I'm pretty sure, coming over and telling you exactly what to do even when you're not stuck. You know what I mean, right? You know that friend that he's just like, you can move that block over to that switch, and you're just like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Stop being a backseat gamer. Nobody likes them. Okay, this review is turning into me more complaining about this game than actually reviewing it. But there are some things I do enjoy and I think are great ideas. One being the actual time powers. As you play through the game, you'll notice these yellow circles under your health bar, and that is the amount of times you can rewind time. Now obviously, you can't rewind time forever. That's what this white circle is for. It shows you how long you can rewind time for. However, if you perform certain actions with the dagger, like stabbing a knockdown enemy to absorb their sand, that white circle will shorten the amount of time you have to rewind. So you have to be really careful on when to use your powers. Beside the yellow circle are crescent moons that represent your abilities in combat. When they're all full, you can do like this cool ultimate attack where the prince is like, and I think it's really awesome. It makes combat super easy. You can unlock more yellow circles by finding these sand spots and stabbing them with your dagger, thus unlocking more crescent moons. Collecting 5 of them will increase your maximum number by 1, which leads me to the next thing I enjoy. This game may seem linear, but it does reward exploration. For example, you can discover these secret hallways that lead you to this cavernous area where you can increase your maximum health. I think the game could have done something with hidden weapons as well, but instead you get the strongest sword in the game through the story, and it doesn't just feel as rewarding, you know? Alright, maybe we should talk about the story some more. The prince and Farah have found the hourglass, and the prince inserts the dagger back in, returning the sands to its rightful place. Although in doing this, he also reversed time to the beginning of the story. This means he can go stop the vizier from tricking his past self before it's too late. When he gets there, just to add one more thing I hate about this game, you are treated to the worst last boss I have ever come across. Essentially, the vizier makes a clone of himself, and you have to beat it 3 times. This could be fun, but each clone is the exact same as its predecessor, and they're all taken out so easily. I mean, look at this. In conclusion, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time does not hold up. The combat is clunky, the camera work is horrible, the audio design is even worse, and the save point spoils how to solve all of the puzzles for you. Although the game rewards exploration and the time powers are cool, it's not worth it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, whenever you're watching. And as always, take care.